6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAUUSD, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI. 6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAUUSD, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, all that good stuff. It does really help out the channel, so I do really appreciate that. As always, we'll start with the dollar. We'll go through the DXY, take a look at the USD majors, take a look at gold and silver. We are coming up to an interesting point. Is it time to start longing the dollar, shorts and pound, euro? We'll go cover that in a moment. I'm still holding on to my pound Aussie trade, so recap that as well. I did take a loss on New Zealand yen, so we'll recap that too. I didn't manage to get into some euro Aussie buys. Really nice trade there, but it didn't quite give me the entry I was looking for. So unfortunately did miss out on that move. But you win some, you lose some, you miss some. That's all part of trading. What's up, Diva? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. So yeah, guys, as always, drop any charts, any recommendations, any pairs you're looking at, any trades you're in, you want to share as well. We can definitely take a look. Just drop it in the chat, and we'll be happy to discuss. But we'll start with the dollar, which is in an interesting position. I've been talking about buys for USD pretty much all week, but I did say I want to see a bit of a move down. And we've kind of got that move down. So we're back in bullish territory. This is the area of supply we were hinting at the start of the week. We still do have to respect the current bearish trend, which the market is in. As a trader, we're not so much looking to reverse markets, we're more so looking to flow with them. Of course, you can look to try and trade reversals, but you have to know the time and place to do them and manage it accordingly. As for USD right now, we are pulling back into territory where potentially buyers could look to step into the market, and we could be seeing potentially another higher low and some strength for the USD. So this is a place where buys do make sense, but here's where the understanding of price action, waiting for opportunities to actually buy the market, does come into play. We've seen a pretty steep move down, fairly corrective, but I still think it's a bit too early to be jumping into some buys for the dollar just yet. I like the zone we're trading in. We're starting to slow down. We're seeing some wicks on the 4-hour chart, or at least one wick anyway. So we are slowing down, but I still do think it's too early to jump in. I like price to kind of develop, maybe consolidate, spike a little bit lower before we do take off. I like price to kind of bide its time a little bit. When price tests the level, I don't want to be the first person in. I want to wait for price to potentially whipsaw people out, and then I look to enter. So I'm being patient here with the dollar. I know what the plan is. It's looking to see if we can buy here. And then we'll go from there. And if I don't get entries, I don't get any entries. If price does rocket from here, so be it. It's not really a trade I want to be in anyway. But pretty much anywhere from 98.1 to 97.5, I'm keeping a good eye for some longs on the dollar. And that brings me to euro dollar, which is basically the same situation. Price is now pulling back into areas of supply where, again, we could potentially see sellers enter the market and potentially see a lower high. What I would also say is I'm staying a bit flexible. I'm not being too judgmental. and I don't mind the idea of potentially looking to try and buy the buy euro dollar as well. We're seeing a pretty commanding up move here. Hasn't really done anything special in terms of like take out major high like this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just see momentum pick up. After all, we are in a bullish trend, and very much the trend could still look to continue. So if you are taking shorts here, you are going counter trend. You are going against the bigger play. There's nothing necessarily wrong about that, but you just need to make sure you understand that situation. So with the dollar, euro dollar, I don't mind potentially some pullbacks, maybe even coming back to retest this brief consolidation, double bottom territory. If we could do something like that, I don't mind the idea of some buys if we have a nice corrective move down. Of course, this is the seller's area, so I'm not looking to buy up here. I want to see how we move down. Potentially, there could be some buys forming later on. And if not, if price does rally and break structure, well, then I'll be looking at some buys higher up, back into resistance there. But yeah, we're going to see what price does, because we are starting to slow down. And if USD does gain some strength, then we could be seeing some shorting opportunities. If I do get into a short, my first target would be here, just because, like I said, this is where the buyers could kick back in. And of course, if things go very well, we could see a push back into this low. But yeah, I'm just looking to focus on areas so much for the USD pairs and euro dollar itself. Not so much trying to predict too much what the market's going to do, because at the end of the day, we don't necessarily know. As traders, we've got to react to what the market's providing us. At the moment, we are approaching supply, we are approaching resistance. Can the market respect that? We'll be looking to see if we can do that over the next couple of days or so, but I still think it's a bit too early to try and predict anything, too early to jump into some shorts. If you are buying, I would say cool, intraday you could catch a nice swing back to the prior high and call it a day there. But anything more, you might be asking for a bit of trouble. So yeah, euro in an interesting place, but not trying to be too predictive, trying to be a bit more reactive with euro at the moment. Pound USD as well, this has come back to a nice area of resistance and a nice area of supply, where again, potentially the market could form a lower high and could come back down. This is basically the area I was talking about coming into the week. Can we respect this area? Can we see some shorting opportunities? Drop into the 4 hour, I still don't think the market's quite ready yet. So I'm still biding my time, being patient. This could be a great place for a short, but I'm not the biggest fan of how we're trading here. I want to see us again consolidate some more, maybe fake to go lower, a spike higher, and then the short. I want to see more development here before I do take any entries. Again, the bias would be bearish in this territory. I'm not looking to buy the market, that's for sure. So I know what I'm looking to do, but I'm just waiting for a good opportunity to do it, essentially. And I was monitoring price this morning, keeping a close eye. We did have a bit of a kind of drag higher, potentially trapping some buyers there or taking out some early sellers, and then momentum kicked in, but nothing significant, nothing enough for me to look to enter a position. So with pound USD, just staying patient, same with euro, same with the dollar as well. We'll come into areas where we can reverse. I'm just not quite ready yet to put those positions in, put those trades in. I don't think the market's quite ready to be shorted yet. So still waiting, still biding my time. Dollar CAD, that's been super bullish. CAD's been pretty weak as well. So as you can see, a very convincing uptrend, although we have stagnated over the past 2-3 days here. Quite clear there's a consolidation which price is trapped in, and it's purely because USD has been a bit weak, but CAD has been pretty weak as well. So it's a battle between weak currencies right now. At the moment, we don't know necessarily who's winning, but either which way, I'm still not eager to follow dollar CAD to the upside. Again, I would be looking to try and buy dollar CAD. That would be my bias, but we're just going to sweep these highs. The market's quite overstretched. I do want us to have a much bigger pullback before I do start talking about some buys again back to the prior high, and maybe beyond that. I wouldn't mind a retest of this area here. That would be a nice area to potentially look to swing trade again. But yeah, dollar CAD intraday, you might find some buys if, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of how we closed on the 4 hour chart and the hourly with these wicks, especially as price sweeps the high. So I would be very, very cautious with buys, I'm not going to lie. Yesterday I was talking about some buys. No, the day before I was talking about some buys. No, yesterday, yeah. Thursday I was talking about some buys in this area. Basically just looking at that kind of flag pattern, buying at the low makes sense to try and anticipate continuation. However, we have failed to see that continuation. We had a nice initial rally, but not enough to see price continue back to resistance. So yeah, with the wicks here, that's looking quite ugly. We could probably see move back to support from that. Maybe after that we might be ready for the buy, so that could be something to monitor. But yeah, I would be very, very cautious with buying dollar CAD right now. I think we're quite stretched on the high time frames, and even intraday is not looking good anymore. As for Aussie dollar, this one has been quite bearish, more so because Aussie's been pretty weak, not so much because USD's been strong. This one's kind of fallen over and actually managed to hit support again. I was looking for a bit more upside yesterday for Aussie dollar, back into this area, then looking for a short. Unfortunately, didn't quite get that opportunity. Price just rolled over, so there's not much for me to do here with Aussie dollar because I don't really want to be shorting it back into the low. The idea was looking for a bigger pullback, back into resistance, back into supply. Then looking to try and position myself short from these areas where I'll be comfortable and looking for a much bigger swing. Risk reward will be looking really good as well. Yeah, in this area, looking pretty fatigued on the way down, respecting support pretty well. This is not a market which I want to be looking to short right now. I do have a bearish bias for it. I still do think price can hit support here and probably go a lot further as well, but just not the best location for a short, especially coming back into this area of demand, which gave us a pretty strong move higher, which is why I do want to see that up move to get away from all that noise, then short it later. So yeah, just being patient with Aussie dollar, not seeing much of an opportunity. I know what my bias is, but yeah, not seeing any entries unfortunately. New Zealand dollar, same situation kind of with Aussie now, in terms of we have quite a clear market structure present here. Lower lows and lower highs, very, very consistent. But again, do I really want to be looking to sell New Zealand dollar at this low? Absolutely not. Every time price does sweep a low, we tend to have a pretty big pullback, as we can see. So I would anticipate another one, or at least I just don't want to be shorting at the lows. We might not get it, but I don't think it's just the prime location to be looking to try and short. So I am waiting for a slightly bigger pullback with New Zealand dollar. Hopefully something like this, and then some shorts later on. I think longer term, there is a good debate if we can reach support there again. I mean, we've been super, super consistent with all these lower highs. I don't see what's stopping us from getting there again. So I quite like shorts of New Zealand dollar for the bigger swing, but right now, still bullish territory, so not really interested in doing anything, to be honest. And if you go take a look at gold and silver, well, gold and silver just absolutely flying. I think gold hit 43. Wow. It almost hit 44. Just yesterday, we were talking about push to 42.50. Yeah, gold's just been super, super bullish. So again, looking to trade this one, you have to be super, super aggressive on the pullbacks. Although it's looking a little bit frantic now, so I probably would be a bit more cautious. I wouldn't mind if we were to have a little bit of a sell-off here back into that low. I still think that would be a very nice opportunity. I was looking for something similar over here, but the market was just way too bullish even for that move. So maybe we do get it here because we're seeing a little bit more aggressive momentum, and maybe the market's a bit stretched with this move here as well. So maybe we do get that sell-off. But of course, still very much actively looking to try and buy gold. The trend is still very strong. No signs of us about to reverse just yet. So yeah, the bias is still very bullish for now. And silver, very much likewise as well. I like this area floating just underneath us. Nice consolidation, gave us our last breakout to the upside. I wouldn't mind if we could see a push down, take out some of those weaker lows, and a continuation from there. That would be a very smart trade on even like an hourly 30-minute chart. That way you can actually have a bit of a pullback and still reach back to highs and probably even further. We got 55 not too far away. I would say that's the next big psychological level for silver. after we've just gone past 50 back down here. 55 will be the next one. So yeah, very, very bullish on gold, silver, still pointing up. If you're looking to trade those guys, I'll still keep that bullish bias for now. Yes, the market's going to retrace soon, but that soon could still be a month's time from now, and there could still be a lot of buy opportunities in between. So stick with the buys until proven otherwise. What is up? Precious, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, JPY pairs had a bit of a collapse this morning. Really, really bearish. It's interesting because some of them are looking like they could be looking to reverse completely. So yeah, yen pairs could be looking very, very interesting going into next week, because I was looking to see if I can buy, well, I was buying New Zealand yen. That one took a loss. I was looking to see if I can buy pound yen as well. I still am kind of looking for that opportunity, but just being a bit cautious now with the momentum. So I'm going to have to rethink things there, probably do a lot of that over the weekend, see how the weekly candle closes this week. But yeah, we'll go into detail about the yen pairs. No problem, happy to help on the FTSE, no problem. I haven't actually looked at the FTSE in a while, to be honest. So yeah. What's up, Mateke? Welcome to the stream. Long New Zealand yen and the DAX. So are you long New Zealand yen and the DAX, or are you looking to get long? But when we go through the yen pairs, we'll take a look at New Zealand yen as well. Hey, what's up, CS? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. What I think of the DXY. DXY still in a nice place for a buy, but just being very cautious at the moment. Yeah, the way I look to trade, the way I look to try and find my entries, I'm not too sure if the DXY is ready to be bought yet. I like the location we're trading in, but I'm just being a bit careful. Okay, 498.05. Oh, okay, I like that idea. Take the demo first. If it does go deeper, go into the live account at a better price. I suppose that way you kind of scratch the itch by trading the demo account, so you don't use the live account to get in too early. But yeah, we'll go through some of the yen pairs. We'll take a look at the DXY. I'll recap some of my positions as well. And of course, if you do have any other requests, drop it in the chat. But again, I do want to make sure you guys are well aware of our perps platform if you haven't checked it out. Also check out the Zentrix dashboard as well. You need about 1,000 tokens to 100,000 of the token to use the platform, but that's only around $8. But I'll go into a bit more detail about some of the features later in the stream. But in terms of the perps platform, if you are looking to trade perps, it's a great place to start. There's a bunch of different cryptocurrencies you can look to trade, but other markets like FX, indices, commodities will be coming to the platform as well. You can connect to the platform via Solana or Ethereum wallets, and you can trade straight away from the wallet, live or demo as well. Withdrawals are pretty much instant, so there's no waiting around to request. You have to wait 48 hours or whatever. It's all done instantly. And again, one of the features we're really, really proud of is the AI tool here, which is basically like your personal assistant, provides you support and resistance levels, analysis on the chart, analysis of sentiment, and also tradable setups as well. So if you're interested, go check it out. It is linked at the top of the chat. Again, free to use, free to start with. You just have to plug in your Solana wallet. You can use your email as well if you don't have a Solana or Crypt or Ethereum wallet. But I would recommend to go get one. And I do have some videos on my channel going into detail how to use it, so feel free to check those out as well. Okay, so let's go through some of the yen pairs. Hoping 97.8 because I remember that as a good demand zone. Yeah, okay, I'll go through DXY as well. Euro CHF, yeah, precious, we can take a look. So yeah, in terms of the yen pairs, crazy moves. I was in a buy on New Zealand yen, but I did get stopped out this morning. I'm still looking to see if I can re-enter, but again, being a bit patient, because with this yen turnaround, I got one eye on the yen basket, and if the yen basket closes the week aggressively, which we'll see by the end of the week, but if we close aggressively, it could insinuate a bit of a reversal. So I will touch on that in a second, but I did have a long position here as price came back into this demand zone. I was looking for basically the higher low to form. We just about swept the highs here, really aggressive move. I was looking to see if I can try and capitalize on the next swing. Unfortunately, we didn't see that momentum come in, and price is now back at support here. So effectively, it's a nice place for a buy. It's just, I would be a little bit cautious about how long that buy could last for. I think this is a great place. You can see a lot of rejection in this area, violent moves as well. So naturally, it's a nice place to buy the market. But I was looking for a swing back to this high. I'm not as confident with that swing anymore. Not as confident. And the main reason is, if I quickly flick over to the yen basket, because if New Zealand yen is going to push that high, we're going to need to see some yen weakness, as in the currency itself. And if I quickly scoot to the weekly chart, we've now got 2 wicks here at this low. So there's a clear sign that the yen is struggling to break through support here, and potentially we could be in an area where price wants to reverse. So if the yen is going to see some strength, it's going to be very, very difficult for New Zealand yen to push back to those highs. So I do think New Zealand yen is at a nice place for a buy, very significant support level, but equally my original buys for a push back to this high at the start of the week is not looking as fruitful as it is now. So if you do get long here, I'll start to be a bit more cautious with that buy trade as soon as we start to approach some areas of supply, like this zone or this zone here. Maybe I might try and push it to there, but I'll be very, very watchful along the way. So I think, yes, you're in a very nice place for a buy, but yeah, I'm not as bullish on New Zealand yen as I was at the start of the week, especially with how we're rejecting that support level on the yen basket. So I will be very cautious of that. But yeah, with the strength we've just seen with the yen, of course, all the yen pairs have had some really interesting drops. Pound yen for me is an interesting one. I am still very bullish on this one. I am still looking to see if we can get back to that high, but again, I'm not jumping into anything or force anything just yet. I'm looking at the 4-hour chart. I mean, this overall does look quite corrective to me, so I'm still under the impression that this could just be a bit of a correction, a bit of a pullback, before we do see some more upside here. Now, I'm not going to try and pick the low, because I think that's the more aggressive trade. But if I can wait to see some evidence of momentum coming in, maybe taking out this high here, I wouldn't mind to look for some longs later on, take it back to this high, and back to 207, 208, all the way up there. This would be a very nice high probability opportunity, because you're seeing strength come in. This is most likely going to be a higher low, and then you're just betting on the continuation of that. So pound yen, I still do have that bullish bias. If you zoom out, look at the overall play of the market, it is still very, very bullish. We've broken through significant resistance here as well. I think as long as we stay above that, I'm looking at buys. If price does come aggressively below that, then I'll be a bit more cautious. So yeah, pound yen, I'm not quite there yet with the reversal. I'm still looking to see if I can buy it, but we are still a long way away from looking for entries. As for some of the other yen pairs like Aussie yen, that was a very, very bearish move. And yeah, I'm not looking to buy Aussie yen, that's for sure. We've pulled back into this supply zone and we reacted very aggressively. And not only that, we've actually broken through some structure here. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see we've just about pierced that low. So this tells me there's probably more downside to be had with Aussie yen. I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy, but I do think the next up move we get most likely will be a pullback, and this will probably be the next move for Aussie yen. And that looks like a nice trading opportunity because you're positioned well for the shorts. You know, price coming back into sell, back into supply areas of supply, and we've reacted aggressively. We've broken through structure, so all you're betting on is just that momentum is likely to continue. Yeah, maybe price does move all the way down here, but that's not really the trade we're after, or at least not myself anyway. So I do like the idea of some shorts on Aussie yen, and I do like the idea of some shorts on CAD yen as well. CAD yen's been super bearish, looks like it's filling this gap. Similar situation to Aussie yen. We pull back into an area of supply here. Looks like prices reacted very aggressively. Essentially a bit of a double top. I do think if CAD yen keeps falling, especially if it takes out this low here, yeah, that to me is a very bearish signal. I don't mind the pullbacks and some more downside, and perhaps CAD yen is making its way back to that low there. So that's a bit more of like maybe a week or two ahead forecasting there for CAD yen. But following this uptrend is not looking like the best play anymore. This looks like very tight price action, and the way we're rejecting the highs there is not a healthy sign for the continuation of this up move. So I'm starting to shift a bit more bearish. Like I said, I still want a bit more downside before I do start looking for any opportunities. But with the way things are going, possibly that could be our next big target for CAD yen as well. And if you talk, well, the thing with Euro yen and Swiss yen, they're so bullish. I'm not looking to short them. These are coming from some major highs we haven't been at for a while. I mean, they probably are due pullbacks, but I'm not really interested in trying to catch the highs there. I'm pretty sure Swiss yen's at all-time highs. Yeah, so I'm not really interested trying to short this one, especially with CHF being so strong as well. Potentially might have two strong currencies coming up against each other. But yeah, as for Aussie yen, as for CAD yen, they look very bearish to me. I'm not ready to short them yet, but we're getting there. I'll take a look at the DXY. We'll go through the DAX as well. We'll take a look at Euro CHF for precious, no problem. Yes, CS, we could take a look at dollar CHF as well. Buy now? Okay, we'll take a look. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan with dollar CHF. Like I said, CHF is still very strong. It depends what you're after, CS. If you're looking to buy now, where's your target? How far are you looking to try and take this trade? Because originally coming to the week, I was looking to see if we can get the continuation, back into resistance up there. Of course, since we have broke through some structure, I'm no longer betting on that move. If you're looking for a bit of a pullback of this bearish leg, yeah, I think you can see that potentially back into this area, but I would expect us to continue to fall over back into lows at 0.78. So I wouldn't be looking for the big reversal anymore for dollar CHF. I think that's a little bit too far-fetched. I mean, maybe it does happen, but I wouldn't bet on it after this move breaking through all these lows. The reason why I was bullish for dollar CHF was because of this newfound bullish structure. I was betting on another higher low forming. I didn't get an entry, so I stayed away. And then, of course, since then, price has broken structure. So I'm no longer going to bet on that move there. So if you're looking for buys in dollar CHF, sure, I think the market's quite stretched. We're seeing some aggressive rejection at the lows here. Perhaps the market is ready for a bit of upside. But as we come back to this area here, I do think price probably is likely to continue anyway. I actually wouldn't mind getting into some sells, to be honest. That's where we position. Yeah, because I do think price probably will just go and hit support, to be honest. So if we do pull back, that could give me a good excuse to actually short the market and take one more move down. So yeah, buys, I just see a retracement. Okay, pullback 0.794. Okay, so basically that zone, yeah, I think possibly. I mean, not a trade that I look to take. I'm trying to go with the momentum, but it does look like price is pausing here. Go to the 15-minute chart. I mean, it's still an aggressive buy, but I would expect the retracement. Not a trade I'll take personally, but I can definitely see the logic there. I'll go through the DAX, and then we'll take a look at the DXY and Euro CHF. Beck, yes, we could take a look at pound USD as well. So yeah, with the DXY, as I said, I do think we're in an area where we can potentially now see the buy start to step in. I still think it's a little bit too early. I'm not quite ready yet to buy the dollar. So I'm still very much just keeping a watchful eye of price action in this zone. I don't like being the first person in or trying to catch the low of one down move. I like it when price can find support, maybe consolidate, maybe push up a bit, double bottom, flag pattern. I like those sort of opportunities. When we have just one down move, I try to avoid just trying to buy them back up, because from my experience, it's a lot more difficult of a trade to catch. But I like the area we're trading in, and if we are going to form a higher low, well, this would be the place here for DXY. So keeping a very watchful eye right now. Momentum is slowly stepping in, but again, difficult to say if we're about to reverse here or not. I like how corrective we are, which again implies that we are getting ready for some type of move to the upside, but just not ready to jump in just yet for confirmations. But I am looking to see if we can push higher. If you take a look at the DAX quickly, oh, that's looking really bearish here. I was looking to see if price can hold this demand zone, but no, it broke through. Really aggressive candle this morning. Okay, so what would I be looking at next for the DAX? I mean, we haven't done anything significant in terms of break key structure. This is still our low, which gave us that high. So I would still say I'm quite bullish on the pair, although that was a very strong rejection at the high. It's a sign that we are failing at the highs, which means the trend is starting to weaken. But this is still a nice place for a buy. But again, I would wait for things to develop first. I want to see us maybe find support, break higher, and then look for the continuation afterwards. That would be a nice trade. I don't want to be trying to pick that low, especially when the market is no longer as bullish as it once was, and we're starting to fail at highs again. So I don't have that same incentive to keep buying the DAX, knowing that we are failing at highs now. So yes, it's in that area to keep an eye out for the longs. For the most part, we are still putting these higher lows in. Maybe price is set to put another one, but I'd rather wait for market to look like it's putting that low in than try and catch the next pullback after that, and then trade it back to highs. So I understand looking to go long, but I would wait for a bit more development before buying. We'll go through Euro Swiss. So CHF pairs, if I'm not mistaken, all looking really aggressive. Looks like we're about to go and take out that low there. Yeah, I don't think are these all-time lows for Euro Swiss? Yeah, all-time lows for Euro Swiss. So extremely bearish right now, and the odds of us seeing new lows, I would say, is pretty high, especially with us breaking through that support level there. So if you're looking for opportunities, I would keep a close eye on a pullback, something like this, another lower high, and then hopefully a move to go and take out the lows. We've got very continuous bearish structure here. I'll just bet on that continuing. Look for the next pullback. Maybe might have to drop a bit more intraday. But we just had a pretty aggressive wick there, so that might kickstart a new pullback. But overall, market's pointing down. I'll be looking at some shorts here for Euro Swiss. We'll take a look at Pound USD next. Okay, look for sells, lower risk. Fair enough. I just think dollar CHF, all that momentum, especially with CHF being so strong, arguably the strongest currency right now. I think it is the strongest currency. Trying to look to go against that is fine. You just have to treat it as such. Be in and out of the market. You're not trying to hold for too long, because the odds are dollar CHF does keep falling. So if you're looking for a buy, it's most likely it's going to be a pullback for us to continue lower eventually after. Hey, what's up, Livia? Good morning. Hope you're doing good. Good weekend. Yes, it is Friday, coming to the end of an interesting week. I had 3 positions this week. Well, actually 4 positions. 2 on pound Aussie, 1 loss, and 1. Well, it's not a win yet. Still holding the position. I have managed to trail my stops above some structure on the hourly chart, or below some structure in the hourly chart. So hopefully that can still go and hit target. Still a little bit of a way to go, but worst case scenario, I think I'll be taking like a 2 point something. Yeah, 2.5. Best case scenario, around the 1 to 6. But yeah, I did get stopped out earlier over here, so I did re-enter. And then of course, New Zealand yen didn't go to plan. That one took a loss on that one, looking for some momentum but failed. Then dollar yen took a break even. Then I missed the re-entry. I say miss, but it happened whilst I was sleeping, so there's not much I can do there. Because for me, a missed trade is more like, okay, you were at the chart, but you just didn't take it. You know, if you were out somewhere or sleeping, you don't want to beat yourself up over missing those positions, because you always eventually miss those positions. It's the positions where you have the chart, but you missed it. Those are the ones you want to make sure you don't mess up on. But yeah, so interesting week, but if you close out pound Aussie, pretty good week to be honest. What's up, Precious? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Commodity currencies will take more hits. Oh, commodity and currencies. I mean, I'm looking for oil to get back to 55, I believe. Was that my target at 55? Yeah, I mean, we're almost there. Wow. I haven't actually looked at oil since since last Friday. So oil's almost there. 55, 56.5 roughly we're trading at. So yeah, oil's looking really bearish. Commodities, not looking too good. Of course, metals loving life. Indices not looking too good at the moment. Dollar's actually still a bit weak at the moment as well. You'd think USD would be a bit stronger. Maybe that's going to kick in soon, but not quite here yet. Bashi, what's up, my man? Hope you are doing good. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate the message. If you guys are enjoying the stream, drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out. Of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell as well, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. I think there's someone outside doing something, so apologies for the weird noise. But yeah, I appreciate the message, Bashi. And of course, any chart recommendations, any markets you're looking at, drop it in the chat and we can take a look. Yusuf, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Welcome. What is up? Okay, let me go take a look at pound USD before I forget. So yeah, pound USD, I was keeping an eye on this one this morning. I don't think we are still quite ready to short yet. I'm being very, very patient before I jump into any positions. Of course, I can see we're starting to reject. Yeah, pretty nice wick earlier this morning. And we have seen a bit of downside, but still, I'm looking for a pretty big swing on pound USD. Now, I'm looking for a swing all the way back down to this support level here. So whether price is going to make that swing or not is, of course, not in my control. But looking to take a trade that looks like it's ready for a swing is in my control. And looking at pound USD right now, yes, we've seen some rejection. Yes, we've come back into a nice area of supply. We might see a bit of downside, but I don't think we're quite ready for that bigger move yet. So dropping a bit more intraday. I think, yes, pound USD is looking really corrective, which is a good sign. We've got a bit of momentum coming back in, which again is a good sign. But I do think we can develop a bit first before we do get that trade, which might still be a day or two away. So I am still short bias for pound. And this is definitely an area which I want to short in. But yeah, I haven't clicked the trigger just yet with GU. I don't think we're quite there yet. And again, I kept one eye on the dollar as well. And the dollar doesn't look quite there yet for me to buy either. Again, it's coming to a nice place, but in terms of the price action, because I enter using candlestick patterns and judging the candlesticks and how we're moving, I don't think the dollar's quite ready to bounce yet. That could change in a few hours, to be honest. That's not me saying we're not ready to buy yet throughout the whole day. Things could change very, very, very quickly. But currently looking at price, I'm not quite confident we're about to rock it off just yet. So yeah, I want to be patient with that. But pound USD, if the swing is going to play out, there's a long way to go. I'm looking at a push all the way back down to this low here. So that for me is a pretty big move, and I don't want to be jumping in that too early. And if of course we do see price continue higher and price does break through resistance there, then I'm going to have to, I might not necessarily change my bias. I might look for shorts a little bit higher up, but I might not be looking for the same big move. I think we can still get a reaction, but a push over there is a bit more of a, I'm asking a lot there from the market. So yeah, I'm going to keep a close eye on G, but not quite ready to short that one yet. Yusuf, speaking of missing trades, how do you find transition from 5 to 15? How often do you check the 15-minute chart in a day, or do you just set alerts? Good question. Well, I do set alerts, but because I'm not looking at the 15-minute chart, watching every candle to find if there's a trade. Yeah, the way I look to trade, I try to have a bias on the higher time frame, and the reason why I use the 4-hour chart is to scale lower and to maximize my risk to reward, and the 15 as well, I scale even lower to maximize the risk reward even higher, especially when there's more shallow pullbacks. So it's not a case where I'm looking at every single 50-minute candle, because I know the patterns, I know the type of price action I'm looking for an entry. So for example, GU right now, I can tell from price that I don't have a trade at all. So I'm probably going to check this one maybe every 2-3 hours. Yeah, because I can tell there's no setup for me to take. If I can see there's a setup quite close, because I'll wake up in the morning and I'll do my analysis for the day. So that's kind of, that would my analysis in the morning would tell me how often I need to check the chart, or if I need to set alerts. So for example, when I woke up this morning looking at GU, I was like, okay, we're in a nice area. I'm not quite seeing an entry that would suffice for me to get into the trade. So I'll keep an eye on price, but I don't need to be glued to the screen. I can probably check this every couple of hours, maybe even 3 hours. In terms of like GA, which I took earlier in the day, earlier in the week, this one, when I woke up and I took a trade here, which failed, and then I re-entered. For this one, I knew, because where did I wake up? Yeah, I woke up here. I knew that price instantly was in the area, and the way price was trading reflected a pattern which I wanted to trade. So I was very much focused in that morning. Pretty much spent the whole morning watching Pound Aussie. I was doing other things, but I had Pound Aussie on my screen. So I took the trade, it failed, but because I knew price was still in the area which I still like the buys for, I still pretty much watched it throughout the day. And then around 2 p.m. UK time, which would be 3 p.m. Here in Kigali, is when I got the next position, and then from there I just let the market do its thing, and I checked it every few hours after that. But yeah, it depends on the situation. So there will be some days where I'm spending pretty much the whole morning watching a pair, and there'll be some days where I know the odds of an entry are quite slim, so I'll check it every maybe 2-3 hours. So basically it varies. It depends if it's close to an entry or not. And yes, I do use alerts as well. But if I'm at my desk, I normally have the screen up, so I don't really need to have an alert, because I'll check. We'll go through Aussie dollar and Aussie yen for solo, no problem. Beck, Euro USD, okay, we can take a look at that as well. So Aussie dollar, pretty bearish this morning, rolled over. I still like the shorts for Aussie dollar, but I'm just not too sure if I'll get a trade, to be honest. I mean, we've rolled over here. I didn't really find an entry during that. I was actually hoping we could see a bit more upside for Aussie dollar and a push into this level. We might still see that happen, so I'm not going to rule that out. We are respecting support now, but maybe price does bounce and pushes up and then gets a sell. So definitely don't want to disregard that setup completely, but of course we're not trading anywhere near that level, so I'm not going to be so fussed about that setup today, and I'm not going to be focused too much on the price action in Aussie anyway. So yeah, this is probably a chart which I'll focus back up again next week, but I'm still looking for a push into this low here. That's still the target for the week. This is still an area which I do like. Perhaps we do see an intraday opportunity. So maybe the market does, pull back into, this is the 50-minute chart, by the way. Perhaps we do pull back into some supply here, and maybe there's a bit of a sell-off in the afternoon. But I wouldn't try and push the trade any further than that, because we are respecting support pretty well here right now. So yeah, anything other than an intraday short, I don't really see much more of an opportunity there. This is where I was looking for the swing trade and still am. But yeah, in terms of bias, in terms of direction, I am still looking at a bit more downside into 0.64. And then hopefully we can get the biggest swing after. We'll take a look at Aussie yen, and then we'll go for euro. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. No worries, Lebsy. What is up? Hope you're doing good. So yeah, for Aussie yen, I'm actually really bearish as well. Both, it looks like a lot of the Aussie currencies, I'm looking for AUD to be weak. I'm buying pound Aussie. I was looking to buy euro Aussie. I'm looking to sell Aussie yen. I'm looking to sell Aussie dollar. Yeah, I was going to say Aussie CHF as well, but that's more to do with CHF. So for the most part, it looks like I'm pretty bearish on Aussie itself. And yeah, judging the price action here for Aussie yen, we've come back into a big area of supply. Price had a really aggressive drive into that zone, followed by a really aggressive reaction, which gave us the inverse V-shaped pattern, which is a very, very powerful reversal pattern. And now that price is going to broken through structure, this for me means even more downside. So perhaps we could be talking about a push back into this area, which of course gave us our last big bullish leg. I think that could be a lovely target maybe for the upcoming week. So I do want to see a pullback for Aussie yen to start things off, because we've just gone and taken out a major low. This is not the time or place to be looking to try and short the market. But if we can pull back pretty much anywhere within here, I do think that would be a smart place for a short, at least to push back into the prior low, but most likely some new lows beyond that is what I'd be looking to target. So yeah, Aussie yen really bearish. Somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern coming into play, and effectively looking to try and catch that right shoulder. But yeah, with the yen coming into play, with the yen respecting the support level this week, if price does really reject that, the yen does have room to reverse into, because effectively this is a bit of a range, and perhaps price is rejecting the low to push to the up end of the range, and that could mean quite a few weeks of bullish momentum for the yen, which means the yen pair should be heading lower. And of course, Aussie yen is in a prime place to take advantage of some shorts, so I'll keep an eye on that. Look at that weekly candle as well. Really aggressive wick to the upside last week. Now it looks like this week we're getting that bearish engulfing candle, so that's like momentum is shifting. So yeah, I think for next week you can see a bit of upside, catch a short, that'll look good. Targets back into this zone here. That looks like a sensible trade to me. We could go a lot further than that, but at least for the upcoming week, that's probably where I would target. In terms of euro, again, the way I look at euro is pretty much a flip on the DXY. We still do have a pretty confident uptrend here, and it looks like price has reacted to support pretty well. So even though we are approaching, an area of supply where again price could very much put a lower high in, I did say earlier this morning, do keep an eye on this zone, because that's potentially where buyers could creep in, and if euro does want to go higher, that's where I do think we can go higher from. But for now, yes, we're in bearish territory, we're back in supply, and shorts do make sense here, but I still think it's a bit too early to be jumping into any shorts just yet. I'm looking at the price action, pretty continuous to the upside. I like it because it's corrective. We're not seeing crazy bullish momentum. It's quite slow, quite corrective, which implies that again we could be getting ready for a move down. Again, I think it's still just a bit too early to jump into some shorts. Maybe we see a bit of downside, but I wouldn't be surprised if we find support again intraday and continue to the upside. So yeah, I think the dollar's just in a because I do like the buys on the DXY. I do like the buys in the DXY, but we have to be careful because we are still very much in this bearish trend here. So just by default, us taking buys in the situation, I would deem it as counter trend. I know we've seen a bullish trend for the past couple of weeks here, which is essentially the trend we're looking to follow, but this trend does still have weighting. And effectively, if this trend if that trend is going to continue, the low high could already be priced in, and we could see price drop there, similar to what dollar CHF did. That put a lower high in a similar location, and that had a really aggressive move down, and it's not too far away from support. DXY could very much do the same thing, which is why I'm not trying to jump straight into buys straight away, and why I'm trying to be a bit more patient, because the buys here, I'm going up against this. I'm basically saying I don't expect that to continue. I'm looking for this to continue, which is a much smaller trend in comparison to all of this. So, by that nature, it's a bit more of an aggressive trade. It's counter trend, and I don't want to be the first person into that trade. I want to see really strong rejection to really, really give me confidence to say that, okay, this low it is holding and price is now ready for a move up, even if it's just a move back to here. And that would be enough for a first target for me. But yeah, I'm not quite convinced there on DXY to the upside, and same thing, same logic applies with Euro USD. I'm not quite convinced with a push down there just yet. It's a nice rejection, but nothing significant, nothing to say that, okay, this is going to be a high for us to move down. So yeah, being very, very patient there. Very, very patient, because we all got this rejection this morning. Pound USD as well, saw a bit of rejection there too, but yeah, I'm not quite convinced just yet. So I'm going to stay patient on pound USD. I think for now I'm just going to hold on to my pound Aussie trade, manage that accordingly. I have managed to trail my stops, so worst case scenario we still walk away for decent profit there. Best case scenario we go and hit that resistance. But you can see in the case of pound Aussie, we have this uptrend here which we're taking advantage of, and then of course we had a really, really aggressive reaction last Friday, which kind of implies that maybe this trend is going to kickstart again, maybe it's going to continue, and now price has had a bit of a pullback here, and we've got somewhat of a continuation, and all I'm looking to see is if we can hit resistance again, which we're not too far away from. So yeah, we'll see how we get going there with pound Aussie. That's the only trade I'm in at the moment for now. I've got a few pairs on the watch list, but I kind of want to see how this weekly candle does close. No problem, Bashi. Hey, nice. Did he come into your stream, as into the chat, or was he on the stream with you? Yeah, I'm glad I missed out on Euro Aussie as well, because it's essentially the same move, but I would have liked to catch that move as well. It's already gone and hit the target, which was a push back into this high. But again, similar to pound Aussie, really violent move there on Friday. All I was betting on is the continuation of that move. So if I drop to the lower time frames, I was looking for another higher low in this area. Didn't quite give me the entry. I was looking for us to take out that low there and then move up. Unfortunately, didn't quite do that. But yeah, lovely move to the upside. Now that price hit resistance, now I'll back away. Essentially in a range, we could come right back down. Yeah, I've used USDT, not USDC, but USDT, yeah. Oh, okay, in the chat. Oh, okay, okay. If you're looking to try and convert USDT to USD, you can get yourself a crypto wallet, and well, it depends where you got paid to, but you wanna make sure you get the payment into the crypto wallet, then convert in the wallet to USD, and then of course you can withdraw to whatever bank account or wherever you want to put it. Hey, congrats, Bashi. Which is a good wallet, low fees and stuff, fast payments. There's a bunch of wallets. I use Uphold, but you can get some decentralized wallets as well. Trust Wallet's a good one too. Yeah, I don't necessarily recommend too much. I would want you to do your own due diligence, but I would say research those and check them out. Uphold and Uphold's a good one. Reputable. Trust Wallet's good as well. Yeah, Kraken's big as well. You can use Kraken too. No, just Uphold, no S. Uphold Wallet. Let me take a look at some of the indices. Yeah, we're looking quite bearish here. I think with the indices, we're coming into a bit of a climate where we might see a bit of a counter trend form, which is good because it means bigger pullbacks, which means more opportunity to take it back up again. But with the indices falling, I kind of feel that we're going to get a stronger USD, but we just haven't seen it yet. Yeah, USDT. Yeah, Phantom's a good wallet as well. Phantom's a good wallet. I mean, there's a lot of wallets you can use. No worries, Bashi. Appreciate it, my man. But congrats on the first payout, though. Congrats on the first payout. First of many. First of many. And again, when you do get funded as well, because a lot of people, their first kind of thoughts are, okay, funded, let's try and milk this account for as much as we can take advantage of it for. But I think the biggest thing to focus on with a funding account is trying to keep it for as long as possible, because what's the point of getting funded just to lose it after your first payout? You want to keep it as long as possible. Best way to do that is keep risk managed and have some drawdown protocols to help you level out, because of course when you do lose a funded account, you're going to have to get funded again to get the account, which is of course going to take some time. I think the more effective period is just to keep things steady, keep the account as long as possible, get more accounts as well. I think that'll be the best. That's always going to be the best approach, because you see people trying to hit in the biggest payout possible, which is great when it happens. But again, if you do make the big payout, then you try and do it again, most likely you're going to blow up the next time, if you didn't blow up the first time either. I think the more impressive skill as well is just to keep the accounts as long as possible and stack them as well. I think that's even more impressive than just trying to get a big payout, because anyone can hit a lucky trade. Of course, Bashi. Again, the thing is there's always that misconception with psychology as well. Some people say psychology like isn't real. Like psychology is not really a thing of trading. You just need to trade well. And I've been there thinking that psychology isn't really an important aspect of trading, but as of as I've continued my career, I've looked back, and yeah, psychology is a huge part of trading. A huge part of trading. Of course, at the end of the day, you still need to have an effective strategy, but what's an effective strategy without a good without a good mental framework? Because you have a good strategy, but you will sabotage in any which way possible. My aim is 1 TP and request the payout, which works out to 2.5%. Yeah, that's a great way of, especially with a more conservative way to trade as well, which is, you know, focusing on high quality opportunities, not necessarily high frequency, and just stay consistent with that. That will limit your drawdown, keep your payouts consistent as well. CS, the banks will approach or recruit prop traders. If you're talking about the modern day prop firm, not banks, but other bigger prop firms, yes, and potentially fund managers, potentially, if they have that kind of structure set up, yes. But I don't think a bank would just approach a prop firm trade, especially in the modern prop firms, because we're all, especially with a lot of the modern prop firms, you're trading on, you know, demo accounts as well, too. So if a bank's going to approach a trader, you're looking for a very kind of bulletproof track record on large capital, which potentially you can find that through prop firms, but yeah, the structure needed for that, and especially with all the modern day prop firms, you're getting funded and losing the accounts. I don't see that happening. Yeah, of course, you want consistency, not big payouts. Of course, you have to be proud of it, because it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort as well, and especially when you've been through a lot of turbulence, especially when you've been through ups and downs, you do have to pat yourself on the back, because it is a long, bumpy road, and the bumps are quite painful, very painful. They can be very painful. Some bumps you don't recover from as well, so you definitely have to pat yourself on the back. But I would say is, with trading, like, it's never a situation where you kind of just made it and then everything just becomes a walk in the park. You always have to do your due diligence. You always have to make sure you show up, you know, journal your trades, look back over your mistakes, because if you do get complacent, the market will find that out and will definitely punish you. Even if you've been successful for a few years, you know, you can still very much get too complacent. All it takes is one bad drawdown to undo years worth of work. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is don't get complacent, but of course pat yourself on the back, reward yourself. That's important as well. Yeah, that is a bit skeptical, not like CS. That is quite skeptical, man. Especially after 1 year as well. Because think, you know, fund managers and banks, they're managing billions. You know, they're not going to just look at one year's worth of trading data and be like, okay, this is our guy. Because there's a lot of people with 1 year's worth of good trading performance. 3 years, 5 years, that's a little bit more valuable. And even then, you're not going to be put on large capital straight away either. So yeah, 1 year, I'm not too sure about that. Might be a bit of cap there. Maybe he's telling the truth, but yeah, I would have my doubts. Let me have a quick look at some of the other crosses, because I was interested in Aussie CAD shorts, but I think I've missed the boat on that one. Yeah, I was hoping we can come back and test this area this week. We're very close there on Thursday. We had that bullish candle. I was looking for one more push up and then hopefully the sell. But we've already put the high in there. And how we swept the lows? Yeah, we just swept the lows this morning. So yeah, I think I'll back away from Aussie CAD now. Of course, I mean the thing is, Bash, you should post some videos on psychology as well, because I know you're quite passionate about the subject. You should post some videos about psychology. No worries, CS. Happy to help, my man. Happy to help. And also, if you guys have like any specific like topics or video ideas or any requests, let me know as well, because I'll make a list and I'll make sure to get through them. So if there's any like topics or any ideas you guys have you want to see on the channel, let me know, whether in the live streams or separate videos alone. Because I'll do more like trade breakdown videos, I'll do more videos in technical analysis and psychology as well. But if you do have any particular ideas, let me know. Yeah, the thing is, you can do it on the live stream though. I mean, the thing is, you do it on live stream, don't you? Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, to be honest. I mean, the thing is, you don't have to do anything crazy, to be honest. You can literally just record yourself for 10 minutes and then just post that, to be honest. It doesn't have to be absolutely amazing. You never know, that one video could really help transform another trader's perspective on psychology and on how they trade. That's an interesting video, CS. Spot a fake trader. The thing is, I've been trading for so long, it's kind of like you just know. But yeah, people who are slightly newer to the scene probably, of course, might need a little bit of a guidance in that situation. But yeah, it's actually a good idea. I've never actually thought about that as a video. I mean, in terms of, in general, I think the key things is a lot of language. I think that's definitely a key part a lot of people miss out upon, is language and how they speak. Because a lot of people who are fake would kind of speak in a lot of uncertainties, and they will kind of miss out the probability aspect. Because if you've been trading for a while, you understand that you don't actually have any idea where the market's going to go. All you have to do is just make educated guesses based on your research, technical analysis, fundamentals, whatever you use. But if you talk the language of certainties, a lot of those people kind of just taking advantage of maybe a successful trade, or because again, you can potentially win your way for a challenge and win your way for a payout, because what actually defines a trade is consistency over a period of time. Because at the end of the day, anyone could take a trade, anyone can, buy gold right now, make a few hundreds, make a few thousand, and then start to showcase that on social media. But the way they speak about the position, the way they speak about the idea, the way they speak about trading itself, if they speak a lot of certainties, that's a bit of a red flag for me anyway. Especially on a trade idea, not trading itself. Option on traders who trader, yes or no, pros and cons. Let's go there. Rest video. I'm not sure what that message means, Bashi. Okay, yeah. I get the idea. So yes, yeah. I think certainties is a big one. real traders will kind of speak a lot more about process and a lot more about kind of getting to the same idea and consistencies within that. So like, for example, like a system, like I'll do this, and then the trade will be there. And of course you take wins, you take losses, but the idea is still the same. A lot of people who are pretending to trade would normally go through the route of, okay, price swept this low because it wanted to grab liquidity here, and now price is ready to go and take out this high because of this and that, and then we had the banks come here and that. Yeah, people are just waffling at that point. Like, they're talking like they actually understand the mechanisms of the market. If they did, they wouldn't probably take a loss at that point. Especially technical analysis. Technical analysis just put probability in your favor. It doesn't solve the market, it just allows you to make an educated guess. Yeah, that's true. That's true as well. Market conditions as well is big. Everyone's buying gold and saying it's easy. Very, very true. I think the thing is, you'll probably see a lot more traders pop up now with talking about gold and how to trade gold, which is basically just buy it. Yeah, that's true. Calling top or bottom. Yeah, that's very, very true. The thing is, you can call the top and bottom sometimes, but the way you do it, and also how they showcase the entry. I mean, there's so many ways of like sabotaging and playing around with MT4 screenshots as well. But the thing is, that's difficult for me to describe in terms of how people fake that, because a lot of people can actually have fake MT4 accounts and actually manually put in trades. Like, for example, you can manually put a trade right up here, and then it looks like you've entered here and you take advantage of that move. And the broker will give them accounts to do this. But again, that's harder to prove. To be fair, there's a lot of videos online. I don't want to mention names, but recently there was a trader who I think turned like $100 into like $1 million in like 2 months or something, or a month. And there was like a documentary kind of going through it, and there was so many issues. I'm not saying no one's ever done any crazy account flips, of course there have been, but especially in that period of time is literally insane. Because even if you look at some of the market wizard traders and some of the big kind of big returns they've had, taking 10,000 to like 50 million. Normally that takes them like 5 years or a decade. Going from 100 to $1 million in like a month, like mathematically is almost impossible. Just like in terms of margin and leverage. So I'm not saying you can't do that, because you probably can, but in a month is insane. I don't know if it's a month, it might have been 2 months, but around there. Follow the trend. Did I say hi? I'm not too sure if I did. What's up? Yeah, I mean, I think self-sabotage is the biggest aspect, really, because your psychology, you will self-sabotage, and you can do that in many ways. Get out trades early, take trades you shouldn't have taken, not take trades you should take, over leverage yourself, make the same mistake again and again and again. And there's so many different ways to self-sabotage. And the thing is, especially with self-sabotage, sometimes it's very, very subtle. Sometimes you don't even know it's happening, which is the worst bit. Because you get the obvious self-sabotage, which is where you close a trade early, which you should have held. That's like obvious. You should have held the move. But then you get the subtle ones where a trade kind of fits, 4 out of your 5 confluences. You said to yourself you need 5 before you take a trade. It's kind of done 4, not quite the 5th, but you still take the trade and it wins. And you're like, yeah, it was a good trade anyway. But actually, you shouldn't have took the trade. Yeah, it won, which is great. But you have to focus on the process, not the outcome, because that same trade could have lost, and then you'd be like, oh, I should have waited for the 5th confluence. So if you focus on the outcome too much, you're going to be up and down. But if you focus on the process, if you said 5 confluences and there was 4, then you've got a bit of an issue. So it's not as obvious, but the sabotage is still there, even if it paid you as well, which is the funny thing. BTC looking prime now for 100k. We'll take a look at BTC, and last time I looked, that was looking really bearish. I've never done $100 to $1 million. No, I can't say I have either. Only 1,000 to 5k for my ability. The thing is, with account flips, you just have to stay very, very aggressive, which is why it's very difficult to go from like 100 to $1 million, because you have to maintain that aggressive trading and basically not blow up between 100 to $1 million. There's going to be so many points where you could blow up, and the thing is, you might not necessarily, because even like potentially 2 losses could be enough to take the whole account. And especially when you start to get into bigger figures, it's like, okay, if you flipped 100 to, let's say, 10,000, would you still be aggressive, risking the whole account to go and make 30,000? Maybe. But I think most people probably start cashing in by then. And if you do risk it to hit 30,000, maybe you do blow up. But then it comes back down to your risk appetite as well. BTC not looking too hot. BTC not looking too hot right now. Smashing through lows here. And we are just in free fall right now. It's funny, you've got gold absolutely roaring. BTC looking like a mess right now. Again, if you look at the bigger picture, the direction is still up, so it's not freak out territory yet. But it does look like we're probably due for a bit of a pullback. Price has failed at highs here. It looks like we're breaking through structure. We still do have 2 days left before that weekly candle does close, of course, on Sunday. But if we can close underneath that, that's not a good sign there for the buyers. That might there be the catalyst for a bit more downside. I really do like this area here for a long-term buy if we can get to 90k. I think that's a really nice place for a buy. But yeah, looking at this momentum, it's not looking great. I think if we do see some upside for BTC, it's most likely going to be a pullback for some more downside. Now, I wouldn't want to be looking to sell down here. Starting to approach some areas of demand again, which gave us more upside. So this is not the time or place to be shorting BTC in my eyes. But if we do have a bit of a pullback, let's say if it comes back and retests here, probably will mean a bit more downside. I do want to see how we close for the week and how we close for the day. But yeah, it's not looking hot. I really like this area here, between 90 and 80k. I think for a big swing trade, I'll definitely keep an eye on that. But yeah, we are looking quite bearish now for BTC. What's my gold bias? My gold bias is still very bullish. Still very, very bullish. Until we kind of break structure, then yeah, maybe we can start speaking about some shorting opportunities, because there will be a shorting opportunity for gold. It's not going to continue forever. But equally, you have to trade what's in front of you, and which is still a very, very aggressive bullish market right now. I did talk about some buys early in the stream. I said maybe if price can go and sweep these lows, that could be a nice place for a long. I talked about pretty much the same setup here yesterday too, but the market was just way, way too bullish for that. So yeah, maybe we can get it set up now. Market might even still be too bullish for that as well. But yeah, the bias is very bullish here. I've marked out 44 as the next big psych level. 4,500 is the next big one. I'm not even far away from that. That's halfway between 4,000 and 5K. Yeah, insane moves for gold, I can't lie. From my experience, a lot comes back to fear. Yeah, I think it's between fear and greed. Between fear and greed, maybe a bit more on the fear side. Depends on the psychology of the person. Some people lean a bit more greed, some people lean a bit more fear. Yeah, I think if you find yourself closing positions early, not taking trades that you should take, lack of confidence, lack of confidence in your ability, even if you've done all the hard work as well, yeah, that's definitely an element of fear. And just taking a loss as well, just losing money on a trade. You can fear that too. And of course, on the other side of the coin, you got the really aggressive traders who happy take a trade whenever they find one, even if it doesn't fit the plan well. They're happy to really size up on positions. They're happy to be in the market pretty much 24/7. Those are a bit more greed people, they lean a bit more greed. I think a good indication to see which one you are is to look back over your trades and look back over your losses and see what's the biggest issue. Is it taking your trades you shouldn't be in? Well, probably that stems more from greed, because you're just trying to find a trade, and if it does fit your criteria or doesn't, you still happily take it. So if you do find yourself taking a lot of trades outside your plan, you probably do suffer a bit more on the greed side. The thing is, you can have both greed and fear problems as well. You might lean a bit more greed, but you probably still have a bit of fear problems as well. It's not completely black and white. And the fear side of things, if you do find yourself especially if you have a bigger risk reward kind of style of trading, like if you're looking to catch 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, and you rely on risk reward to keep you profitable, and if you look back at your trades and you're not really seeing those risk rewards, all those returning winners, you probably are suffering a bit more on the fear side of things, because you're not letting your winners play out. Because you had the plan of looking to bank 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, but you're still walking away with 1 to 1s. Yeah, you probably do have a bit more of a fear problem. Fear is good for me, fair enough, so yes. Buying them on gold. Okay, how was the gold position yesterday, Bashi? Didn't you say you got back into a trade, I think? S&P Insight, okay, we can take a look. 42.86. 42.86. Okay, that's around here somewhere. I mean, that's essentially where I like the buys from as well. 250 pip stop loss. Not bad for gold in this environment, to be fair. We are a bit more volatile right now, so yeah, I think especially with gold in this environment, bigger stops are required, because you can see the average range of a candle here is a bit bigger than the average range of a candle here. Or a bit more volatile. Candle's a little bit bigger, so naturally you're going to have bigger stop losses to adjust for that. Anywho, we'll go through the S&P, which should be looking a little bit bearish at the moment. Yep, it is. It looks like this point we're probably coming back to the low here, so it's not looking too good for the stock market right now, I can't lie. Because we've had this aggressive move last Friday. Price tried to continue back to highs, failed, and is now looking at forming a lower high, and most likely about to create some new lows. So yeah, it might be time for some counter trend price action before we do see the next wave kick in. So maybe for the next couple of weeks we're looking at some shorts, and we're looking to take price lower. I think if price does pull back intraday, you might find some nice shorting opportunities to trade it back to this low here. So if we could do something like this, that could be a really nice short back into that low, and then we'll see what happens from there onwards, especially with us taking out that low. So yeah, S&P Insight would be pretty bearish, especially intraday. Very commanding move yesterday, taking out lows. The likeliness of price taking out this low too is pretty high. And yeah, that could start to form some type of bearish counter trend over the next few days, couple of weeks maybe, and eventually maybe we kick in bullish later on. But the buys are not looking too good anymore. GJ and UJ in the 15, sure thing. So 15-minute chart. I think if I just go to the daily quickly, we have come into this area, so we'll keep an eye on that. We are testing some support. But if I do drop to the 15, we are looking pretty bearish, but I wouldn't say this is prime location to be looking to short GJ, because we have this corrective kind of price action here, and you can see the last time price did sweep a low, it did start this pullback here. So I wouldn't want to look to trade this to the downside, knowing that we might see a bit of a pullback happen. So I do think shorts are the best play, especially with this momentum. But I would say keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this area. That would be a much better place to short from. And of course, if you have a much bigger pullback than that, then we might even talk about this area up here. But those are the two zones I'll keep an eye. I wouldn't look for like a break and retest for that prior low, because I would guess there's a good chance of a pullback happening. But let's say if we get here, start to slow down, become corrective, that could be a smart place for a short, or even up the high there. Now personally with pound yen, I'm not quite convinced with the long-term sell just yet. I'm kind of still looking to see if I can play the bullish trend. But before I do that, I do want to see if price can put a low in, maybe even go and break some structure, and then I'll be happy to look for the pullbacks after that. That would be a very nice trade. But we're probably still at least a few days away from that happening, if it does happen. But yeah, GJ still seeing a lot of momentum, especially if you're going to trade it intraday. I think shorts make the most sense. And I do think we can see a bit more downside. As for UJ as well, I would agree too. This one's back within the prior high I was talking about yesterday. As you can see, we've gone and swept this high here, and now price is pushing back down in a similar manner to what we did last time. I do think now price is likely to push to the lower end of this channel, which would basically mean price to fill that gap, and maybe from there we bounce. So yeah, with dollar yen, I would be pretty bearish on this one, and because now we're back underneath this high, that could potentially act as a resistance. An opportunity would, something like that would really interest me. As for the 15, I think we're looking a little bit tired in the 15. We have seen some really nice pullbacks, in fairness. So even on the 15, I would want to see a bit of upside first. Before I do bet on a continuation. So as for GJ, as for UJ, I would stick with the bearish bias for now. A lot of momentum there on the intraday time frame, so I wouldn't be looking for any buys. I would look for bigger pullbacks for both of them. I think they're both in kind of awkward territories for longing for shorting right now. You can see dollar yen's a little bit fatigued here. We had a really nice move yesterday, and then we're looking a bit fatigued here. So I would look for a bit of upside, a bit of life coming back into the trend. But in terms of direction, I think this could be a likely target for UJ. Oh, break even. Okay. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So you're just looking to get the payout. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, again, not every trade's going to be a winner as well. Again, how many people use break-evens when they trade? Because break-even is always such an interesting topic. Some people don't believe in going break even, some people do. I utilize break evens purely out of managing risk. I do understand that break even does sometimes cap your winners because sometimes price will pull back to your entry before continuing. But in terms of catching a trade and catching the initial move, if that move does fail and it does reverse going against you, going to break even does help manage drawdown, does help manage taking extra losses. Especially if you're going for bigger moves too. If you're looking for like anything 3, 4, 5R plus, I do think break even is a good mechanism to manage drawdown, because if you think about it, when you do get into a trade and you're looking at like a big target, price might push, but it very much could roll back over. And the bigger your target, the more you're looking for the market to make a move. If your target's like right here, and you're looking at 1-to-1s or even less, then yeah, you probably wouldn't go break even because it's only there. There's no need to. But if you're going for big moves, there's no point to keep that original risk in, because price might go at 80% of the way there and turn around. You're legit going to take a loss after being up 5R. Probably wouldn't do that. But I do understand that break evens do sometimes stop you hitting some winners. Sometimes you'll pull back at your entry. So I do understand that logic as well. But I think it's just a bit of a balance, and it comes down to preference as well. If you're a bit more, you want that risk appetite, you're just going for those winners, then you might not use break even. But I think in just managing drawdown, keeping a steady equity curve, break even does provide that value. But of course, you will sacrifice some winners there. As long as you're comfortable with that, I think it's a good trade-off. But yeah, if you're looking for like quick 1-to-1s, then yeah, I don't think break even actually makes sense. No problem, Yusuf. Have a good one, my man. Have a great weekend. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, same here. Okay, breaker structure, easy to go wrong. And went very, very true. Very, very true. And boost roommate. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I suppose different time frames make sense as well. But yeah, as for the 1 minute, things can change very, very quickly. Gold coming down. It is a bit of a drop there. Maybe we do get the setup. I mean, I was looking for literally the identical setup yesterday. Maybe we do get it today. But then again, if we do get here, that probably still take maybe 2-3 hours for us to get there. And then that will probably take you to maybe around 2, maybe 3 p.m. UK time. And that puts you in a very awkward situation, because if you do get the buy, you're probably not gonna, I mean, unless you're gonna hold over the weekend, but it's always a little bit tricky. Especially if you go intraday, because all it takes is one gap and things could look quite ugly. So it might not be great in terms of managing the position. Okay, fair enough. Using the average volume pip movement, interesting. I've never really used that before. I mean, I've used the ATR to manage trades before. I prefer using price action, because with the ATR, you kind of just, you're managing in terms of just how volatile the market is, which makes sense, but sometimes structure makes a bit more sense. Of course that helps. I love data. Yeah, the thing is with trading, there's two elements to it, especially if you trade discretionary. There's the element of process and system, because you do want to have that system, you want to have data to support your ideas, but equally you need to have a little bit of room to think on the spot and to make a decision to take a trade or not take a trade. Because unless you've got a mechanical system, that literally means everything is set in order. If you've got a mechanical system, that means you have to do no thinking pretty much and just trade what the system provides. If you do have a discretionary system, it means you still do have rules, but within that you can make a decision to take a trade or not to take a trade. For example, if you're looking at a double bottom pattern, not every double bottom is worth trading, and it's up to you to decide that. Of course, you can have some rules you're looking at in terms of added confluences, but at the end of the day you have to decide if it's appropriate to take the trade or not. So you need the data to support the idea and the rules, but also you need the mental ability to decide, okay, if this trade is good or not, because I could trade double bottoms very poorly or I could trade them very well, and they will have different results to them even though I'm trading the same pattern. And that's where discretionary comes in selecting trades, which is harder to measure, but you can still measure it. It's not intuition, it's just kind of, because every situation is unique, every trade you take is unique. Of course, you can still have the same rules, but no trade will look the exact same. There'll always be something different. Maybe the lower time frame, the higher time frame, where things are positioned, the candlestick formation, the momentum at the time. Everything something will be different, and that's something that is different will make you think in terms, okay, yeah, this is a good trade to take, or maybe I should pause here. And it's a little bit harder to quantify that. But if you have a journal, you record those decisions and you look back and you see, okay, these decisions are performing well, this is not, and that will help you build data on that idea. But yeah, it's a bit of a loophole, to be honest. Exactly. I think price action is a bit better, especially if you understand it well. Yeah, I can tell, Bashi. Let's take on DXY daily. We had a solid sell last few days. Yeah, I'm being patient with the DXY because the plan this week was looking for some buys in this zone, and we are there. But I mean, in terms of how to try and find my buys, I'm not seeing any entries yet, so I'm not jumping into anything. Or like shorts on pound or shorts on euro. So my take on the DXY is that things are still looking overall pretty bearish. The only reason why I do like the buys is because we had a very aggressive reaction at the low, and we started to put in some bullish structure here. So I'm seeing an incentive that the buys are stepping into the market. If they are going to continue, I need to see the buyers really step in big time here to justify me looking for buys. Because we've rejected this area pretty well, and if the trend is going to continue, we could still very much continue back to lows. But if the buyer is going to step in and not push us down, then this is the time and place for them to start doing that. And if things look good, great, I'll look for a push back to highs and maybe even higher. But I don't want to get too overconfident because we very much can still do that too. Until we kind of break structure, I have to be a bit cautious with the bullish bias. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye. I'm not looking to sell the dollar. Especially in this area. If we have like a very corrective push up, I might be entertained to short that. But that will develop over the next few days. But purely in this area, this is where I do see buyers stepping in. And we'll see how they step in. Still 50-50, fair enough. Market's tricky, so I'm neutral weighting. Yeah, I agree. It's not overly clear for the buys, or equally overly clear for the sells either. Exactly. Buyers been struggling. If this move here created a new high, that will be very, very significant. And that will really make me want to be buying the dollar. But the fact that we failed at the new high, and push down, there's always that element now that maybe that trend is still set to continue. And the way I look to trade, I like to follow momentum. And the reason why I'm starting to look for buys is because I can see that, okay, we've been super bearish for the year, and now we're starting to fatigue, we're starting to plateau. Maybe there's still one more drop to be had. That could be the play. But I can see we're starting to run out of juice. So I'm starting to get with the buyers now. We're starting to see some momentum here. But equally, because we are forming lower highs, this trade is always going to be a little bit more lower probability. If this move created a new high, then pulled back, then this would be a lot higher probability. And this would be a very nice trade. But because it didn't, I have to be careful here. And likewise, same thing for pound USD, same thing for euro. You know, I have to be careful here with the shorts. I have to be careful here with the shorts as well for euro. Okay, following the 15, fair enough. I'll have a look at the intraday chart. I appreciate it, Bashi. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, drop a like, subscribe. It does really help out. And of course, drop any recommendation or charts you're looking at in the chat. We can take a look, but I want to go take a look intraday. Yeah, of course. If you broke structure, it'd be a lot better. Yes, he streams with Nick. Actually, for quite a while now, actually. But yeah, in terms of the DXY lower time frame, still looks pretty bearish to me. Not seeing any convincing behavior here. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if we do. Okay, fair enough. To be honest, I don't really recognize that, to be honest. I'm just focused on the price action, really. I would say the markets are a little bit more volatile, but not to an extent where I'll try and do anything different, because my stop loss will always vary for every trade I take. So if things are more volatile, naturally my stop loss is going to be bigger. Naturally my targets will be bigger too. And when things are less volatile, I have smaller stops and smaller targets. I'm not really seeing any significant changes right now. I mean, with Chris, he focused a lot more on the fundamentals and how they play into the markets. I'm very much focused on trend analysis and market analysis in terms of the technical patterns I see and come. At the moment, not seeing anything significant really that will make me do anything different. What's up, Holy One GAK? I don't mind that title. The thing is, I haven't probably taken a trade on pound Aussie since this week. I don't think I've taken a trade on pound Aussie this year, apart from the trade I had this week. So I don't mind having that title, but yeah, I don't think I'm active enough on GA to deserve that title. But I'll take it. Okay, yeah, of course. DXY and daily. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Let me take a look at DXY and daily. Yeah, of course. I mean, again, with the DXY, I've actually used it a little bit less as I've continued trading. I'm not gonna lie. Like maybe 2-3 years ago, I used to use DXY quite a lot, I still look at it every day pretty much, so I keep up to date with it, but I used to swear by it. Now with the DXY, I kind of only pay attention with it in terms of Euro USD, maybe pound. But like Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, I don't really care what the DXYs do, because sometimes the Aussie dollar's on a mind of its own. And yeah, it doesn't really care, because of course the weighting with Aussie is not the same as the weighting with Euro and DXY. Euro's got the biggest weighting, so it makes sense. I think pound's the second. So yeah, in terms of the dollar's doing this and then Aussie's doing that, I kind of just focus on what Aussie dollar's doing and just trade that. Of course, it's nice if they do agree, but if they disagree, I don't worry too much upon it. But if it's Euro though, yeah, that would be a big issue, because many times the DXY is literally just the inverse of Euro. Boy, oh boy, if I stayed in Geo, I'd be laughing. Yeah, but the thing is, Holy One, that's kind of our slight difference in terms of our trading style. I'm looking for slightly bigger swings. You're kind of looking to be in and out, take that momentum back to the high, onto the next trade. But the thing is, even with GA though, potentially price could have took the high out and then reversed, and then it could be looking quite ugly. Price could have very much took this high and then come back down, which is kind of 50-50 anyway. But yeah, I have managed to trail stops here. Still looking for a bit more upside, but worst case scenario, we get taken out there, which is just above the highs anyway. DXY affects lots. Not really. I probably trade crosses just as much as any other pair. But yeah, the correlation, I don't see the correlation as powerful as it used to be. Like, sure, of course, Euro USD and DXY, yeah, absolutely, the correlation is there to be seen pretty much almost every tick. But like Aussie dollar and the DXY, both of them been heading down for the past couple of weeks. Well, DXY has been heading down this week. Aussie dollar has been heading down this week too. And that's purely because Aussie's been weak. So the correlation has been out of sync this week with dollar and Aussie. And of course, there'll be some weeks where they are in sync. But from my experience, it's a bit more kind of like 60-40 in terms of 60% in sync, 40% it's out. So yes, there is definitely value with the dollar, with the DXY, but for me, it makes the most sense to use it with Euro. Pound, yes, as well. But Aussie, New Zealand dollar, even CAD's made no sense. If you look at USD CAD's price action this week, it's gone up. DXY has fallen. And of course, it's because CAD's very weak this week too. But the correlation between DXY and the USD majors is a little bit off. And there will be times where it's on the money, and that's where kind of my issue comes, because sometimes it's on the money, sometimes it's not. I'd rather just focus on the price action, just take a good trade on that pair. If the DXY is in my favor, great. If it's not, as long as it's a good trade, yeah, that's what I've back tested. I don't worry too much about taking the loss if that is the case. No money bags. I got stopped out of New Zealand yen. I'm looking to see what we do at the lows here, but I'm not looking to push the trade as far anymore. When I bought here, I was looking to see if I can get it back to the high. Now with the yen seeing a bit more strength and potentially bouncing on the yen basket, yeah, I don't expect us to see such a big move anymore. I think this is a great place for a buy. It would have been nice if we spiked through that low. We kind of just respected it. It would be nice if we wicked through. But yeah, we could see some buyers step in here, but I wouldn't be looking for as big of a move. I think this area I'll keep an eye on, maybe back to resistance at best. Okay, straight USD pairs and cross pairs, DXY base, fair enough. Of course, of course. Really? I prefer mine as I feel major overrated. Interesting. Yeah, the thing is, markets do change because I remember a few years ago, the DXY was basically your map. I would look at the DXY and an Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, pound dollar, euro dollar will literally move in synchronization. You literally just had to pick which USD pair you want to trade, basically. The past maybe year or two, especially Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, those have had a mind of their own. Euro and pound have mostly followed what the DXY has done. Of course, euro pretty much it does it all the time. Pound not as much, but pretty consistent. Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar just haven't done that. So if you're using the DXY's confluence for Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar trades, it wouldn't have made much sense over the past year. And gold as well. I used to look at the dollar a lot with gold. The past 2 years, I barely look at the DXY if I want to trade gold because they're out of sync. Damn it, gold, come down. Is gold not pushing down anymore? It still is a little bit, but taking its time, I guess. Yeah, a bit of a wick there. Not the best close. Yeah, GJ means City. To be honest, yeah, my favorite pairs would be the yen pairs. And yeah, my favorite pairs would be yen. I mean, GJ is my favorite pair. It's my most profitable pair, followed by pound USD. I like pound USD a lot too. But if I had to just focus on a set of pairs, it would be the yen pairs. Just because they move well, they trend well, they're pretty fast as well. You can still find good entries intraday. USD pairs are good as well, but they don't move as much. Crosses can be a hit and miss sometimes. Sometimes they can be super corrective and you want to stay away from them. Other times they can trend pretty well too and provide just as good as opportunities as some of the yen pairs. But like Euro pound and Aussie New Zealand dollar, those two currency pairs can be horrendous. Alright, take care, everyone. We'll catch you next week, my man. Pavinator, what's up, my man? Happy Friday. Oh, yeah, Aussie dollar's looking pretty bearish. Did you manage to get into a short position? I was looking for price to go a little bit higher, back into... Oh my word. That scared me for a second. I thought I was on the 4-hour time frame. We just saw that candle there. I was like, what? But no, this is the 15-minute. There we go. I mean, price is still bouncing pretty hard off that support level there. But yeah, I was looking for a push to this area this week for a short. Never really saw that happen. We had some nice momentum kind of midweek there, but not enough to break to the upside into that level. We might just roll back over. I'm still pretty short biased in Aussie, but this is not the place I want to be looking to sell it, unless you may be very intraday. But yeah, that's the area I'm looking to try and short from. Maybe next week we might go and hit that. No worries, Pavinator. I mean, I will do my analysis over the weekend. I'll definitely recap Aussie dollar and share my thoughts on that one as well. So do check that out on the weekend. Done intraday buy, okay, I suppose off the support level. Staying active, Pavinator. Because I know you said you were looking for some shorts around like 651 or something. I didn't think we quite hit that either. But yeah, we are bouncing pretty well for support. Looks like, let's see, is this Aussie strength or is this USD weakness? Is it? Not really. Not really. I'm not really seeing any weakness here on the dollar. So that looks like it's more Aussie strength coming into play. Let's have a look at some Aussie pairs quickly. Yeah, Aussie CAD popping up a little bit there. Aussie yen. Yeah, I mean, this literally illustrates my point as well. You know, Aussie's popping up here. Of course, Aussie. It's not necessarily because USD's been so weak. I mean, we've had a little bit of weakness there, but it's not proportional to what Aussie's doing right now. So yeah, especially for Aussie New Zealand dollar, I don't really abide by the confluence. Of course, they will come into play. I'm not saying it's completely inaccurate, but it comes and goes. So that's why I don't rely upon it. Anywho, guys, we have reached the end of the stream. I do really appreciate each and every one of you tuning in to the streamers. As always, we'll be live again next week, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in, come say hi. Of course, as always, on the weekend, we'll post the analysis, recap this week, go over some of the trades I've taken, and forecast the next, and share my top pairs, my top insights going into the upcoming week. So if you're interested, make sure you tune into that video, which will be out on Saturday as always. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel before you do leave. I do really appreciate that. And of course, hit the bell as well and check out the memberships if you do want to support the channel further and follow some trade ideas, members only videos. Check it out if you haven't done so already. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in to the live stream. Have a great day, a great weekend. And of course, wish you guys all the best. But make sure you do check out the video on the weekend, and I'll make sure to see you all guys on the stream on Monday. Be there, be square. But yeah, guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, great weekend. See you all on the next one.
Six AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. XAUUSD, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.